America's democracy dilemma, a nation built on contradictions. America loves to talk about democracy. It presents itself as a beacon of freedom and justice, but there's a problem. America's history tells a different story. This is a nation built on stolen land. It's a nation founded on the genocide of Native Americans. Can America really lecture others about democracy when it has yet to confront its own dark past? This essay will explore this uncomfortable truth. We'll dive deep into America's history of colonization and ethnic cleansing. We'll examine the demographic shifts transforming the nation. And we'll analyze the rise of global powers like BRICS, challenging America's dominance. The time has come for America to look in the mirror. Only by acknowledging its flaws can it truly live up to its ideals. A dark history, the theft of a continent. This is a story of immense loss and profound injustice, a tale that has shaped the very fabric of the modern world. Before the arrival of Europeans, North America was home to diverse indigenous populations. These communities thrived for thousands of years, developing rich cultures and complex societies. These were not empty lands, ripe for the taking. They were vibrant, populated landscapes, teeming with life and culture. These were established nations with their own cultures, languages, and governance systems. They had intricate trade networks, spiritual practices, and a deep connection to the land. But European powers, driven by greed and a sense of superiority, saw things differently. They viewed these lands as untapped resources, waiting to be exploited. The doctrine of discovery, a papal bull issued in the 15th century, sanctioned the seizure of non-Christian lands. This doctrine provided a moral and legal justification for the colonization of the Americas. This doctrine fueled centuries of colonization and violence. European settlers built forts and waged wars, often meeting fierce resistance from indigenous peoples. Treaties were made and broken. Promises of peace and coexistence were frequently shattered, leading to further conflict and displacement. Native Americans were forcibly removed from their ancestral lands. Entire communities were uprooted, leading to immense suffering and loss. The Trail of Tears, a horrific chapter in American history, saw the Cherokee Nation forcibly relocated, resulting in thousands of deaths. This tragic event is a stark reminder of the brutal policies of the time. The consequences of this land theft and ethnic cleansing are still felt today. Modern Native American communities continue to fight for their rights and recognition. Native American communities suffer from poverty, health disparities, and the loss of their cultural heritage. Yet, they also demonstrate resilience and strength, working tirelessly to preserve their traditions and rebuild their communities. Silencing a people cultural genocide in America. This dark chapter in history is often overshadowed by the broader narrative of American expansion. The conquest of Native Americans wasn't just about land. It was a systematic effort to dismantle their way of life, their culture, and their very essence as a people. It was about erasing their very identity. The rich tapestry of Native American cultures, languages, and traditions was targeted for destruction. European settlers implemented policies of forced assimilation. These policies were designed to strip Native Americans of their cultural heritage and integrate them into European American society. Native American children were taken from their families and placed in boarding schools. These institutions were often harsh and abusive, aiming to sever the children from their roots. They were forbidden from speaking their languages and practicing their traditions. The very things that connected them to their ancestors were denied. The goal was clear: to kill the Indian, save the man, as one infamous phrase put it. This meant eradicating Native American culture to create a new identity aligned with European American norms. This cultural genocide decimated Native American populations and traditions. Languages were lost, and with them the stories and wisdom of countless generations. Spiritual practices were driven underground. The sacred rituals and ceremonies that had been passed down through the ages had to be hidden away, practiced in secret to avoid persecution. Generations were traumatized by the violence of assimilation. The statistics are stark, but they only tell part of the story. The emotional and psychological scars are immeasurable. The Native American population, once numbering in the millions, plummeted to a mere 237,000 by the early 20th century. This drastic decline was a direct result of the policies of cultural genocide. While their numbers have since rebounded, the scars of cultural genocide run deep. Today, there is a resurgence of Native American culture and identity, a testament to their resilience and strength. Efforts to revive languages, traditions, and spiritual practices are ongoing as communities strive to heal and reclaim their heritage. The changing face of America, a demographic revolution. America is undergoing a profound demographic transformation. The once dominant white European population is shrinking. Meanwhile, Asian, Middle Eastern, and South Asian communities are growing rapidly. This shift is reshaping the social, political, and cultural landscape of the nation. According to the US Census Bureau, by 2045, non-Hispanic whites will become a minority. This is a historic turning point. It challenges the very notion of what it means to be American. This demographic shift is driven by several factors, including immigration patterns, birth rates, and increased life expectancy. It is also fueled by the growing economic and political influence of these communities. Section 5. The rise of minority power, a new era in American politics. As minority populations grow, so too does their power. We are witnessing a surge in political participation, civic engagement, and electoral influence from these communities. This is particularly evident in key swing states where minority voters can determine election outcomes. This demographic shift is also reflected in educational attainment. Asian Americans, for example, now boast the highest levels of educational achievement among all racial groups in the United States. This translates to increased economic mobility and professional success. This rise in minority power is not without its challenges. It has been met with resistance from some quarters who fear the changing demographics threaten their way of life. This has fueled a rise in nativism, xenophobia, and white nationalism. Section 6. BRICS, challenging the Western order. While America grapples with its internal challenges, a new world order is emerging. BRICS, an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, represents a bloc of powerful developing nations. These nations are challenging the long-held economic and geopolitical dominance of the West. BRICS nations are united by a common goal to reform global institutions like the United Nations and the World Bank. They seek greater representation and a more equitable distribution of power on the world stage. This includes reducing dependence on the United States dollar and promoting alternative reserve currencies. Section 7. The waning influence of America, a new world order. The rise of BRICS coincides with a decline in American hegemony. The United States faces a multitude of challenges, both domestic and international. Economically, it is grappling with soaring debt, a shrinking middle class, and competition from China. Geopolitically, America's influence is waning. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan have drained its resources and tarnished its reputation. The NATO alliance, once a cornerstone of American power, is showing cracks. This shift in global power dynamics has profound implications. It suggests a move away from a unipolar world dominated by the United States towards a multipolar system where power is more diffuse. Section 8. A reckoning for America, confronting the past, embracing the future. America stands at a crossroads, a pivotal moment in its history, where the choices made today will shape the future for generations to come. It can continue to cling to a romanticized version of its past, ignoring the inconvenient truths of its history, such as the systemic injustices and inequalities that have plagued the nation since its inception. Or it can choose a different path, one that acknowledges the complexities and imperfections of its journey. It can acknowledge its flaws, confront its demons, and work towards a more just and equitable future. The choice is clear, but the path is not easy. It requires a collective effort, a willingness to engage in difficult conversations, and a commitment to meaningful change. America cannot lecture others about democracy while its own house remains divided. The divisions within the country are stark and cannot be ignored. It cannot preach freedom and justice while ignoring the plight of marginalized communities. These communities have long been silenced, their struggles overlooked, and their contributions undervalued. The path to redemption begins with truth and reconciliation. This means facing the uncomfortable truths about the past and present and taking steps to address the wrongs that have been done. It requires listening to the voices of those who have been silenced for far too long. Their stories, experiences, and perspectives are crucial to understanding the full picture and moving forward. The future of America hinges on its ability to embrace its changing demographics, to see diversity as a strength rather than a threat, to learn from its past mistakes, and to ensure that the lessons of history are not forgotten but used as a guide for a better future, and to build a more inclusive and equitable society for all. This means creating opportunities for everyone, regardless of their background, to thrive and succeed. Only then can it truly live up to its ideals and reclaim its place as a beacon of hope and progress in the world. The journey ahead is challenging, but with determination and unity, America can rise to the occasion and create a future that honors its highest aspirations.